Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to another Road to the Apocalypse, where we're going to take a look at the roadmap here for the Dead Linger. So I'm on the Dead Linger website. Go to the roadmap, and we've actually gotten pretty far into Survivor gameplay so far out of the, let me see how many is that, six categories. So let's come on down here and talk about the next time. Last time we talked about barricading and fortress building. Today we're going to talk about character customization and clothing, which is just super fun. So some of the stuff here in the paragraph, currently survivors are able to customize their profile name and their currently equipped weapon can be seen in hand by others, which is true. They just recently, started working on their preliminary third-person view, so you can, pop outside yourself and you can see the backpack you're wearing. And then in multiplayer, you can now see what the other people are wearing. I mean, so those systems are coming in, which is kind of cool. It's nice to see what other folks are wearing, so you don't see people walking around with invisible weapons and stuff. Customization of your character's appearance is a very big deal. The Deadlinger currently features limited character customization, which we've seen, but we have created dozens, well on our way to hundreds of assets for clothing and customization, which will appear. All right, so just kind of summarizing, they want you to be able to customize your character. And by looking at some of the tweets and things I have planned, such as seeing when you put on a hat, you can see the brim of the hat. They want to give this a unique looking game, and your survivors will have these nice custom looks. And the only thing that I'm a little concerned, it's not even really concerned, just be careful with, is as they are working to add statistics to the items. As I've seen in a lot of games, the only problem with that is at some point everybody starts to wear the same stuff because there's going to be that magical combination of helmet, shirt, pants, weapon, and they all going to be picked out by folks. And so you're just going to see people wearing the same gear. In the multiplayer game, that's where it's only going to really kind of be noticeable, because in the multiplayer game, that's where you're going to see other folks. And in the multiplayer, their server sizes are pretty small. I'm not sure what the limit's going to be. So, it might not be too much of a problem. It's just that in a lot of games with multiplayer, once you give folks the same statistics on the same pieces of gear that are really good, they all start to look the same. So what would be, I think, for down the road, a better thing for them to do would be to give, in addition to the item durability, because your stuff's going to wear out, you're going to have to replace it, so you're kind of forced to being changed, to change your items out. But one thing they might want to do too is put slightly random stats on some of the items. So like we know shoes, currently in the game you can find a pair of running shoes, it gives you like a +1 to your movement. What you might want to do is have a very limited randomness to those stats. So like you might find a pair of shoes that have a +2, like, oh my goodness, I found a pair of +2, and then you come across the exact same type of shoes, but you look at them and maybe they're a +1. So not that much of a difference, but at least people might start picking and choosing, obviously the stuff with the better stats, but they might look different. You might find a pair of hiking boots that has the same stats as your running shoe, so they might not be as good as other hiking boots, but then at that point you can decide which look you like. Do I want to run around hiking boots because I like the look? Might as well, because it's the same stats as this pair of shoes I found. So definitely things to think about as they move down the road. In a lot of games, all the clothing is pretty much just for look. In some of the other zombie type survival games I've seen, about the only thing that really matters is which one has the ability to carry more stuff. But as you start to add item bonuses to your equipment, just be kind of thinking of that. We don't want to end up with everybody dressing the same simply because it all has the best stats. If you're going to include hundreds and hundreds of items to wear potentially, then we want to have a good reason for it. So just things to consider. Now, currently, right now, in the character customization, they only have the male figure, and they've tweeted, shared a picture, something, but on one of the Twitter reviews I did, they showed a picture of a female survivor, So that would be interesting. I'm hoping that comes out in build 13. Just because variety is good and just to get those models tested and working, it'd be really nice just to kind of see that grow. Um, Along with some of the textures and reskins that they have for some of the zombies. Again, that's not a player necessarily, but just to have those visual differences will be nice between the zombies and your characters. And as your characters start to develop more, it would be kind of cool to pick your height and just really kind of customize it. So it's only 30% implemented right now. It says here, according to the roadmap, 30%. And I don't know how much that will technically kind of bump up in build 13, but I just ready to see this kind of start to grow. I know it's early alpha, and they have so much on their plate that they're working, but this is something that I think would be really nice to see. And from the multiplayer part of the game, again, the worlds are kind of so small. It's not like a huge, massive online game where you've got like 1,000 people per server. But, if you happen to meet up with your friends, it would be cool if everybody could look a little bit different, help to distinguish one another other than just the name floating on top of the head. And I think that that's something that might help take away some of that arcadiness feel, is if you can actually customize your survivors more, then you could start to take away like the person's name from above their head, kind of make you feel a little more immersed into the game, because you could just identify somebody simply by what they're wearing. And that would really kind of lend to, oh, my character always likes to wear cowboy hats or something. Okay, great. I'm going to run through the world and I'm going to look for the person with cowboy hat, and that's probably going to be my buddy. So it's nice to see that they have the foundation in place, and that will be more exciting to see how it grows from here. They currently do have some beginner stats on a lot of equipment, and they said they're going to be adding more tool tips and adding the durability, and that's the thing I think is going to help with the game as well, as far as keeping you running out looking for more stuff instead of just holding up in one area, is that item durability. At some point your stuff is going to break down, so that's going to force you to go out and replace your equipment, which comes back to character customization. I'm not sure how durability is going to work for things like pants and shirts and shoes. Possibly if you take damage, will that maybe lower the durability on the pants and shirts? If you're running all the time, is that going to lower durability on shoes? Obviously, if you're using an axe and you're swinging the axe and chopping trees and chopping zombies, that will drop your durability. But clothing, helmets, masks, it'd be interesting to see how those degrade over time, thus forcing you to go back out and try to replace those clothing options that you've lost. Which, if you do find an item that has a particularly high set of stats, then you might have to start thinking about, well, do I really want to wear it? Do I want to store that aside and only put that on for those times where I feel like I have to make a town run? I like when you have to start thinking about how to best utilize your resources. And that's why I was saying it'd be great if they could maybe put in some randomness to the item stats, because you might say, oh wow, that's a pair of running shoes, but look, it has a really good stat. I'm going to keep that and save that for when I feel like I really need it. In a multiplayer game, that could be dangerous, because if you start saving up your items and somebody comes and finds your stash and takes your things, then yeah, you just lost out. But in a single player game, you definitely have that luxury. You can kind of think about how you want to store your items and really create it yourself a big base. So I think give it time, give it a few more builds, and we'll start to see this character customization really start to come to fruition. Right now, for those who currently play, you know and you've seen that the framework is there. It'd just be nice now to start seeing some of the walls and the wallpaper and the paint go up. All right, so that's, I won't take too much time on the character customization because it is only at 30%. A lot of potential there. Anxious to see what comes in the way of maybe changing hair color, hairstyles, because currently we all look like Bruce Willis out of Die Hard, so it'd be nice if we can start to make some changes there. All right, well, thanks for taking a look at the roadmap with me, and we'll probably be back in another day or so with some more roadmap. So thanks for watching. Have a great day. Bye.